To remove the radio on the Focus, you're just going to need a few basic tools. You're going to need a 6mm socket or impact bit or something like that just to get the screws out of the dash, and some kind of trim panel remover tool. I used to build police cars and do wiring. This is something that I made. I've lost my trim remover tools, but this thing works really well. So all you do is you're going to start off. You shouldn't really even need a screwdriver. Just pop this vent clip out. Comes out, it's just a few clips. It's going to bend and sound like it's popping. It shouldn't break. I mean, be gentle with it, pull it within reason. Then the vent will just pop right out. I've already removed them because I've got my radio out. I'm waiting for a new radio, but down in here, right there, and right there, there's going to be two 6mm screws. Go ahead and pop those out. Open your glove box. Pull your e-brake all the way up. I gotta find my keys. Sorry about that. Go ahead and don't start it, but pull it back into low. Now you can cut it back off. The key's gonna stay in and it's gonna ding like crazy. Let me shut the door. Now, you're gonna have to remove this. Sorry, you're gonna have to remove this right here. I just kind of pried up on it right there. Get it started. Go ahead. That's all my hardware for my radio when it comes back in the mail. Oh, sorry. Pull this little boot off of your e-brake. Slide that trim piece up. And that's why you need the e-brake up and this back. That boot caught on the e-brake. And this piece pretty much just unclips, and you kind of got to finagle it out of there, but there you go. Now if you look down in here, there's my screwdriver. If you look down in here, there's going to be a 6mm screw right there and one right there. Two on each side. Pop all four of those out. Now this will be about ready to come loose. Go ahead, just so you know, when you pry this, you're going to have to pry this piece off. It comes off pretty easy. There's a screw down on that side. I didn't remove it. As you can see, you're not going to mess up the airbag. It's not attached to it. But I didn't remove that screw, just remove this piece, because as you can see, it's got plenty of room. There's a lip right here that grabs this, but it will just pull right off. You really don't need to worry about it. Next, take this piece, and I generally will try to pry from the bottom because I know I can grab it like that and it doesn't mess up the face of the panels, which on this car I don't really care about. But when I was doing brand new cars, they tend to care about that stuff. So I just kind of got this to a point where it was loose. Now go ahead. You shouldn't need your little pry tool for this. I got my fingers back behind it, and it's just clips holding this thing in. While you pull on this, boom, just kind of pry it out, and the whole thing will just kind of swing forward like so. It's not going to come all the way out because you've got all these electrical connections back here. That's really just the gist of getting that out. The radio, I have a sync radio. Yours probably looks similar even if you don't have it. It had two plugs on the back for electrical connections and the antenna. And then one going to the radio face, which is this right here. Now the problem that I was having wasn't with the radio face, it's with my actual radio unit. They are separate on this car, which is kind of neat by Ford, because I think like the Escape and some other sync capable vehicles, they can all use the same control module even though they have a different face. So I have a ground short fault in my control module, not the face. I know that because I unplugged this and left the face of my radio plugged in, and then it doesn't blow the fuse anymore. Before, the little info screen wouldn't even come on. Now it comes on. All it says is Ford Focus because the sync system is removed. And that's basically what I did. Now with the radio unplugged, it will take a fuse, so I know that the short is not in the circuit itself, it's in the device. There are other devices on this circuit. I'm not sure what they are, but it says it in the owner's manual what's on that particular fuse. It might be fuse number 28 if I remember right. And then to get this out, you can see it's got, I had to loosen these, take these two screws out and disconnect this, and then it has these little brackets that are on it, kind of like this, and you got to take that out and disconnect this. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, if you know how to use a screwdriver, you really should be able to get it out without me explaining it. That's pretty much the whole procedure. Do it in reverse to put it back together. You know, you've got to kind of finagle this thing a little bit when you're putting it back in to get it past that lip and get that in there. But if you got it out, you can get it back in. Just remember, with plastic, especially on these 10-plus-year-old cars, sometimes the plastic gets a little bit brittle. So if you're pulling on it, I mean, you got to give it a nice tug to get these clips to release. But if you're really just pulling and yanking and prying on it, you're probably missed a screw or something. You really don't want to break it. So take a step back, figure out where exactly it's tight. I had never taken a Focus apart before, or not one of this year. So whenever I started pulling on this and realized it was still tight after removing those top screws, I figured out that it was secured at the bottom. Found 4 more screws to come out, removed those screws. For these bottom ones, I mean, you can take these little side pieces and swing them out, but you really don't have to. A magnetic 6mm bit for an impact or something, or just a magnetic tool, makes it a lot easier, because if you drop one of those screws down in this mess, you're probably not getting it back. So, you know, just reaching way back in there with a magnetic tool makes it a lot easier to get it in and out, because then you don't have to get your hand in there, slide the tool in there, pull the screw out, and it'll come out with your tool. So that's really it. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. I might make another video when I slap my new radio back in. It hasn't come yet in the mail. This is the damaged one. But yeah, like I said, real easy. If you got any questions, just shoot me a message.